Hello, everybody. I wanted to talk about vulnerability, being sensitive to your spirit, to the Spirit of God, and to your own innate spirit so that you can operate on a level that is authentic. So let's jump in. When you go through Dark Night of the Soul, when you have been destroyed probably for the umpteenth time in your life, you've gotten to a place to where you realize that there's patterns going on and you were cycling very similar to how the narcissist was. If you're in relationship with narcissists, then you're going to go on the opposite side of that, right, with them. And that's what occurs. That's what you start to see. But when you get to a place where you've had enough, it doesn't yield any fruit, or it keeps you stagnated, meaning you may advance a little, but then you'll have the destruction that comes and brings you right back to square one. Or it'll take you further back and you'll have to start over, rebuild, they call it, right? Rebuilding. Rebuilding is to build something that you already had once before, and you have to go back and do it again, and that's hurtful because you wasted a lot of time and you invested in the wrong things. So when you go through Dark Night of the Soul, go inside and realize, form strong independence and listen to your innate self, your true self. Love yourself truly. And I don't think that empaths play the victim. We actually are the true victim in its authenticity, which somebody had mentioned in my comments, and I really liked what they said. But what you find a lot of times is the person that caused all of the hurt and the pain and the destruction to the true victim, authentic victim, plays the victim. And they actually get future victims by playing the victim when it's all a lie. So if you're a narcissist and you want to heal, which I don't know that's even possible, but you could be heavily narcissistic, right? I would say every day, open up to somebody with a vulnerability about yourself, because that's truly the only way you could work yourself out of narcissism, to be vulnerable. But you have to choose the right people to be vulnerable with. You can't be vulnerable with a narcissist. You can't be vulnerable with an enemy. Of course, they're going to use all of the things that you're vulnerable to them about yourself against you in the future to devise plans of evil intention against you. But you don't want people like that on your team. They were never on your team. It was all an illusion, even for the narcissist. That's why when a narcissist wakes up, if they could wake up to who they are, I do believe that. Can they change? I don't know. There's always a little bit of hope. Very little. But I would like to see change in the world. And for that to happen, for that to occur, it would be nice if you could hit it on all levels. Help the true empath understand their folly first, very much so, because they're really the one that goes through the true destruction, and they were innocent in most cases. But loving yourself is the first key for both the narcissist and for the empath to raising your vibration and to manifesting goodness in your life. You have to love yourself first. That's the core to everything. And you have to work from your innate true self, your authentic self, that child in you that's always been you. You have to get back to that, because that's where you authentically were innately made by God to be. And to wear a mask is to cover it up. Just like it says in Matthew, that when God comes into your life, he lights a candle, and you want to put it on a candlestick and let it glow as a beacon. You want it to shine, so people out there that are hurt can look at your story and see that strong tower with that shining light. But they don't look at that strong tower as you necessarily, but the Almighty, who put you on that high mountain and lit that candle and built that tower for you, because you abide in him and he in you, always connected. So when you meet your love partner, you want to do the same thing. You want to have one authentic relationship, not poly relationships and third-party relationships. That way you can invest fully into your future, your vision, your goals, instead of having these backup forms of third-party relationships, which shows ultimate codependency and not loving yourself and not having faith. Faith is something that is earned. It has to be birthed through trials and tribulations and knowing that there is an almighty God that created everything. If you invest in him, he will invest in you. And that's what faith is. It's to believe on the thing that you don't see, knowing because of you have good intentions and you're gonna wield them in a just, righteous way to help others and to lift yourself out of whatever mire you're in, to strengthen yourself. You believe that there is an almighty God and he will help you. So my test to y'all is, I know you know somebody that's good in your life. Reach out to them today. Somebody you can trust, and tell them something vulnerable if that's your issue. Something that's personal about yourself. That's what makes us humanity. That's what separates us from the animalistic creature that the narcissist becomes. To truly vibrate and break from a subpar vibration, you have to become vulnerable, because that's where love stems from. The foundation of where love comes from is being vulnerable, because you open yourself up to being hurt. And if you protect that always, you will have to cover it up with a false self, and you will never have any faith, because your faith is always put in your lies and defense to protect the truth. But if nobody knows the truth of who you are because you lie about your authentic self and refuse to be vulnerable, then what have you become? In your fruition, in your end of life, when you revert back to what you left in your past or what you've become, it will still have been nothing, in fact worse than the day you were born, because you drifted so far away from what God had truly intended for you to authentically be. So if I could persuade you in your healing process, is first to find a true friend that you can use as counsel, but also be vulnerable with, and tell them some of your vulnerabilities. Maybe that will reduce your fear and increase your faith. So that's what I have for you today, because I want to see everybody heal and vibrate high and increase the love in this world and decrease the toxicity that we see on a daily basis and what's perpetuated in this world that we live in today based on fear. Fear. Have no fear. Because a lot of times the essence of where fear is coming from may be all an illusion. So give me a like, a thumbs up, and a subscription. Love y'all. Till next time, soldier. Peace. We out.